Wholeness, beautiful beings, welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida here, and I made this message find you well and whole, so it's going to be a little atypical of what I usually speak about, talk about, share with you all. This is just yet another life and channel update. Yes, so there are some changes. I'm going through some really big shifts right now. I have my hot tea here. Can't really see, but we're kind of in the middle of a blizzard, and this is day I think I've been in the house since Wednesday, I think. Yeah, several days in the house. We're on break right now from school, so we may or may not have school tomorrow. I'm not sure, so I'm not sure what lesson planning will look like for this week, but I'm just going to go with the flow. So yes, as this is cooling off, doesn't this just look delicious? I just love it. I love I love it. I love hot tea. Herbal is my favorite. This is raspberry tea for those of you who are into teas. I am a Mad Hatter, for real. I love, like, sometimes the brands will put a little prayer or a little intention, a little note, and this one is called Buddha Teas. So it's by Buddha Teas. It says, "You're totally tea-rific." Tea-rific, how cute. Yeah, okay. But I actually made some notes on my digital pad here. And so yes, what is the major shift on this channel? So I will be including, not excluding, what I'm doing currently, but I will be including and adding energy readings to my channel. Like I've said before, I have gifts. I'm very much into spirituality, esoterica, and occultism, in the sense where I am a student of it. I'm not an active practitioner to anything per se. I have certain practices that I am committed to, but there are aspects of myself that I have been in great denial of. So energy readings, what's my opinion of them, the digital age, what's my intention with the energy readings on this channel, and what are my, opinions, of studying them for the past 10 years. I started studying energy readings like tarot and oracle online since 2016, to be honest. I was going through a major spiritual shift, a major spiritual awakening over almost a decade ago. And in spring of 2016, I ended up moving out west for a few years. And, during that quest, during that adventure, I was doing a lot of spiritual work. I was not per se ready to dive right into that. When I say doing a lot of spiritual work, it was a lot of inner work within myself. Pretty much finding my voice for the first time, finding my ground, my footing for the first time, without heavy influences from friends at the time, family members, old ways of thinking. And a lot of the time I find that you're always going to have spiritual awakenings. You're always going to have moments of change and shifts. Multiple, not just one. And that's a kind of a misunderstanding, miscalculation when it comes to being on the pathless path. Yes, I said the pathless path, right? So yes, I have studied many readers off and on, but on a pretty consistent, not in a way to serve or entertain myself. Sometimes, yes, I would. But at the same time, just studying them, reading how they read and how they would set up do their energy, how would they use their gifts. And I'll have to say, from what it once was almost 10 years ago, it has turned into it's become commercialized. It has become a way to literally make a living. And I know that that's been around for much longer than the internet, of people making a living on doing energy readings. But for me, I just have always struggled with trying to put a price tag on something that is so sacred, something that you can do yourself, right? We are all capable if we put in dedicated time and commitment, we're all capable of reading our own energies by studying our own cycles and seasons. And I find that there's nothing wrong with it per se, but I will say it is heavily, yes, saturated. And also, I think a lot of it has turned out to be quite egoic. And I say this in a way, and this is my own observation of what I see. It used to be where readings, the digital readings online would be once a month, maybe a few months, or if anything, you'd have new moon readings and full moon readings. And now I'm not talking about astrologers. I think astrologers are in their own sect. They're in their own thing. I'm talking about just psychic mediumship and readers, oracle readers, tarot readers. And now it's a daily. I mean, people are doing energy readings on the daily, every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. Now, as an intuitive, I find that quite startling and concerning. And I say this with all due respect to all readers out there. You have a calling, you have spiritual gifts, you don't know, you want to figure out how to channel those gifts and to reach more people. So, they have digital platforms now that can make that possible. But if you have studied history and you've studied certain lineages of the oracles, right? Oracles, soothsayers, seers, it's something that isn't habitual. You don't get an energy reading every day. You don't get it weekly, not even really monthly, I would say. And I just, and it depends, right? It depends on the type of reading that you're getting and if what type of spiritual work you're doing. But I've always found it very disheartening in a way. And, but then on the upside, I've also seen where people have gotten a lot more authentic and creative. I've seen people doing, or they're bringing more of the old ways back. In like, I see coffee bean readings, tea leaf readings. I see, people using salt and candle wax, all that kind of stuff, which I find to me, that's more niche, and that's a lot more very specific, right? And these are traditions passed down from the ages, from our mothers and our fathers before us who came before them. And so, as someone who, I have certain gifts that I want to share with you all, I keep that in mind, that this is something that is heavily saturated. I do understand that. My approach will be my own authentic approach and my own way of expressing my interpretation of the spirit world, of energy, and how best we can relate to the natural world. Nature, right? Our first church, our first temple is nature. The trees, right? The lakes, the rivers, the air, the fire from the heat from the sun, the grass beneath our feet. And yes, even in times of winter, where things rest, they are sleeping, they are rejuvenating to prepare for spring, for the new cycle that is to come. That's my, I would say, approach to this is using nature's guides, right? Using nature's guides. And to me, they come in the form of animals. I have been on a long journey with this. If you have not read my recent post, I've completed a project that has taken me 3 years to complete. I started it out just by doodling several years ago, and it slowly turned into metamorphosized into what it is today. It's literally, my artwork is taking a form, a life on its own, and I am finally here for it. So nature's guides, animal spirits, yes, we all have them. It depends on just in this lifetime, if you have a connection or a pull towards them. it will manifest for you in some way, in some regard, whether you have, a close pet, your dog, your cat, or your iguana, or your pet snake or pet spider, or fish, school of fish that you have in your home, or a horse or cattle, chickens, you know, as someone, I don't own any pets, but I've always felt this affinity towards the animal world and the spirit world. And they have come to me. I have my own guides. We have our own internal spiritual guides that can come in the form of animals, and that's what it is for me. And being vegetarian, I was vegetarian for 9 years, and I recently have converted to veganism, and that's kind of been an interesting journey. I lost taste for cheese, and I monitor what I eat a lot more, as far as the processed foods, and I can make a separate video on that as well. But yes, it's I still own like a wool winter coat, and I own, a leather pair of boots. I know that the leather pair of boots are going to last me for almost a decade if I take good care of them. I have the same winter coat from 2 winters ago, or at least 1 winter ago, same winter coat from 5 years ago. And as a minimalist, I'm very, very particular on what I own and why I own it. It's part of my living intentionally. So yes, do I consider myself 100% vegan all the way? I don't own any animal products. No, I'm not, but I'm becoming a lot more aware of what I'm doing and what I'm purchasing. Like it's to me, it would be difficult to get rid of a 100% wool sweater, right? That's ethically made. I know in a lot of in the vegan community, it can be like, well, what's ethics, right? But then I also find a lot of hypocrisy with veganism. I do. It's like, okay, with veganism, you're still, hopping on an airplane to go to another country, and with that pollution in the air, how is that affecting the environment, right? Or, you're putting gas in your car, but you're a vegan, or, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying all vegans don't find other ways to, use transportation. It's like a double-edged sword. I think it's all about just living intentionally and trying to minimize, suffering on the planet. To be quite honest with you, there have been seasons in my life. I didn't have my first vehicle until I was 29. No, I was 28. No, I was 30, 31. Yeah. Didn't get my driver's license until I was 26, which is quite late for Americans. You start learning to drive when you're like 12. So yeah, it's definitely a journey, but it also ties into my spiritual practices with animals as well, because I know some, when it comes to shamanism, people collect bird feathers, they collect snake skins, they collect the antlers of deer and the tusks of the wild boar, and it's like you have to, when it comes to hunting down these animals or acquiring these pieces, were they gifted to you? Did the animal die of natural causes, or were they hunted down? And I have a whole different perspective on hunting and what that means, right? So I'm very much aware with the things and the tools and the objects and clothing that I have now that come from, an animal. I'm very much way more like aware, right, of how to go about, making purchases and just being more conscious and always being in the space of gratitude to that spirit that was sacrificed for me to use what they have, right? Rather than just pitching it in the garbage that's going to land in a landfill. Okay. It's just, I don't know. It can be a bit dicey, I think, with this new journey with veganism, but I will find my path regardless. But yes, the nature's guides. So in general, all energy readings will be, they'll be once a month, right? I know I just said, oh, monthly readings a bit too much, but I'm using animal guides. Guides, to me, it's tarot's very, very different type of frequency you're working with. Very, very specific. It comes from very specific lineages in occultism. But with animal guides, they're here. They speak to us all the time. Every bird song, right? Every approach, you're walking down the street, you see an alley cat, right? Or you hear a bird song, or, you dream of them, or, you meet, someone's pet for the first time, and you feel that special connection. You know what I'm saying? It's just, they're all around us. Nature is always around us, speaking to us. And so through this, I if it resonates for you, please receive it. Receive it with love and with openness. So yes, these energy readings in general will be released once a month. And I'll see how that rolls, and maybe fewer, may just be 3 times a year. This is all intuitively guided at this time because it's very new, and I feel ready to open myself to share it. So the second divination will be sigils. Now sigils, again, are deeply esoteric, deeply occultic, and we are surrounded by sigils all day, every day, all the time. People have strong opinions about it. You can use sigils as a way to siphon energy, like McDonald's. Every logo, that's a sigil. Every logo. So you're wearing your favorite football, NFL football team, or my Europeans out there, your favorite soccer or football team, right? And it's their logo, right? That's a sigil, okay? You go to Mickey D's, McDonald's, sigil. You go to, you buy an Apple product, right? You have the Apple, that's a sigil that's saying something. It goes very deep. So with my practice, what I have, it was a channeled creation, if you will, but this came to me about almost 8 years ago. I was in silent I went on a silent retreat. I go on silent fasts, and these symbols came to me through deep meditation, and so yes, I formulate sigils for myself as a self practice, but for the collective, I feel guided to share it with the collective. Now, my intention with these sigils is specifically they're a blessing. They are a blessing and a gift for the collective that I'm sharing digitally. And I'll go into that with the introduction when I introduce the sigil making videos with you. And, you can use it for yourself, for your family, or just you can add to it by, just making a prayer for the collective with me. Because it is a prayer. It will be a sigil on the front, and then there'll be a message on the back, and then you just meditate on that prayer for all of humanity, for all life on the planet. We need that more than ever. And last but not least, the third energy reading will be what's in a name. Oh, I need to take this tea bag out. That's okay. I don't mind it being a bit strong today. So what's in a name? So this one's going to be a bit more intuitively guided, a bit more, there will be more channeling with this. So what's in a name? I have a name for today's reading, but that name, whatever comes up for the person who has that name, whether they have passed or they are still living, or this is a future person that you'll meet, or if it's you. If it resonates with you, receive it. If it doesn't, release it. And so what I do is and I'll explain further in that video, I will have the name, I will remove all vowels of the name, and I will only focus on the energy of the consonants within the name, okay? So for example, you have Sarah, right? S-A-R-A or S-A-R-A-H. Sometimes it's spelled with an H, sometimes it's not. And, and that's how I will read the sigil. Alphabets, okay? The alphabet, all alphabets in the whole world are sigils. Do you understand? They are symbols and sigils that we put sound to, right? S-E-R-A, right? Sarah, that's a frequency. Words are spells. Spelling, you're spelling words, okay? You are spelling words. Words are used as spells. It's right in front of our faces, and people usually, whether it's either something you're ignorant of, and ignorance can wear the cloak of fear and confusion and misguidance. You can work with your own name by studying the consonants of it. Studying the flow of energy in each letter, right? Names that begin with a vowel I will keep, because that is the foundation of the beginning of the name. Names hold power. Just like words, names are 10 times more powerful than what you can think of. And usually, names like Elizabeth, there's a lot in there. It's a very strong name. You have Eliza, Liz, Lizzie, Beth, Betty, okay? Elizabeth, right? That is a strong name. And names are a phone number. They're a metaphysical phone number that you call out, right? Or you think. Sometimes there's a phenomenon where human beings, you'll be doing a task, and all of a sudden you start thinking of someone. And then 5 minutes later they call you and you're like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of you. Oh, I was thinking of you too, right? They think of you. They think of your name. Names hold power. And to understand the true meaning of your name, the origin of your name, study the origin of your name. There's always a shadow. There's always a lesson behind our name, right? My full name is Najah Rashida Al-Najah. It's an Arab name. And when you look into the definition of what that is, victorious, successful. So, I know, right? So victorious and successful, right? So all the things that are not victorious and not successful in my life, that is what I'll have to change. That's what I'll have to learn how to alchemize. That's what I'll have to learn how to work with. Okay? And everything that's meant to be successful and victorious for me, it's amplified because that's my name, right? Every time my name is thought or called out, okay? To all the Najas out there, right? And then Rashida comes from Ya Rashid, the guided one, guided on the righteous path. My mom did really good with that, meaning it's protected. It's the teacher. It's the mentor. Very fitting. I didn't put all of this together, until many years later. I'm like, wait, I'm a teacher. What? Because I was studying names. I was studying the 99 names of Allah when I was studying Sufism. And I'm like, oh my God, it really makes a lot of sense. And so when you look into the name, for example, Steve or Michael, right? Mikael, L in Hebrew means angel, okay? It's deep. Study your name. And so with what's in a name, because I'm an Anglophone, meaning I'm a speaker of English, I can, if you have for example, if you're a Chinese viewer and, I'll have to anglicize your name, meaning write it in, like Ziyi, right? Or Siyi, XYYZ or XYYI. I'd have to write out your name in using, English alphabet. But still it carries frequency in the sound. Okay. So that's what we'll do. I'll just choose a name, or I'm open to take requests. You'll just have to wait because unlike many energy readers on here, I'm not doing this every day. It's not an everyday thing. It is, and I keep it monthly because I have an audience, and there's constant shifts and changes. So I'm guided to do it monthly for right now. But doing energy reading every single day, you have to allow, if you pay $35 to $50, $70, $100, $300, right, to go to an astrologer or to get an energy reading or Reiki healing or anything, you need time to process all that information, all of that intuitive guidance. You have to sit with that, process, meditate on it, because not everything that's channeled is right for you at that moment. It may become useful for you later. That's why it's very tricky to put timelines on what you're channeling as an energy reader. I don't know how people do it. Oh, between this date and this date, this is going to happen. You're literally creating timelines for complete strangers that don't know themselves. When you know yourself, if you need a message or you need confirmation or validation on something, you receive that validation or confirmation with ease. And you get it, you take it, you receive it, you alchemize it, you process it, and you release it. And you move on about your life. It should never be you're going to the same reader every single day, every week, constantly, getting these energy readings. It's like once in a blue moon. Just give it a rest. I find it very concerning, but I can't bypass the fact that I am one, that this is what I want to share. I just find that we have to be honest about it. We really do. So yes, that's the spin on in the shift that I'm taking with this channel. And if it doesn't, resonate with you, and some people are like, oh, this is the devil, then goodbye. Thank you so much for enjoying the ride, and and I wish you well. Thank you so much for all the support since I've been doing this. I really, really appreciate it. I'm not, again, I respect everyone's perspective and their viewpoints on such things, but if you haven't been an active, practitioner of these certain practices, or you once were and it doesn't suit you anymore, then that is for you. Okay, that is your choice, your path. I'm not here to convince anyone to believe what I believe or to know what I know. I'm not. That's not what my guidance is for. It's really, truly, it's just redirecting you to you. So reactivating my creative life. And yes, I am time stamping this by as well, because I also believe that my channel needs a bit more organization and just a bit more now. Moving into 2026, there's definitely going to be some changes. I want more structure and simplicity as well. And that's why I'm keeping the readings as they are, just very simple. Keep it very simple, because it can be very multi-layered. You can go really deep with one card, with one sigil, with one name. You can go very, very deep. I'm not here to throw so much at you all. So reactivating my creative life. Do you remember when? Those of you who have followed me for a while, or not follow, I don't like the word follow. You're the leader in your own life. But those of you who have, supported the channel, and about over a year ago, I made a channel about pausing my creative life. I don't like this word, but that was dumb. Those of you who are naturally artistic and creative, by all means, don't ever do that. Don't ever pause your creative life, ever. Don't stifle your gifts. Don't stifle your talents, because then your shadow self eats that. And when it has nowhere to go, your shadow will then, your shadow will turn on you, right? In mine, it started to drive me nuts, not practicing an instrument and not drawing and not doing what I'm meant to be doing. It can destroy you. And it's a slow spiritual death. It's not anything good. So Yeah, I'm reactivating my creative life and trying to find a way. And all of this will be very intuitive, because I tend to be I have my South Node in Virgo, so I guess in a past life somewhere, according to Western astrology, because there's many different systems out there, but perfectionism, control, needing everything to be right and perfect and structured and this and that and this. And it's like this life, I feel most of my right decisions I've made in my life, meaning I followed my intuition and I was following my heart in a grounded, present way, paid off. I learned I've learned lessons that made and just shaped me into the woman that I am today because I was in flow. The moments I stopped being in flow, everything just was so much harder. Work was harder. Teaching was harder. Everything hard. And it doesn't have to be like that. If you are activating and you're in a space of, or the frequency of receptivity, meaning you're activating the magnet, your internal magnet, things that are meant for you come easily to you. The work is creating that space to receive. That's the real inner work. You don't have to bend over backwards, beating yourself up, trying to make things happen. They already have happened. You just have to place yourself in alignment for that. And that's what I feel like in this, reactivating my creative life, I'm learning so much. Like all that I need, I have. All the people that I'm meant to meet are already there waiting, and they're waiting for me. Everything that's unfolding, it's just going to just line up so beautifully in the most intricate ways, magical ways. Education. Okay. So update on that. So this past summer, you guys knew everything blew up. Everything kind of, imploded on itself. I was on the path of getting my master's degree in special education because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get my master's degree in education and I'll be employable. I'll make more money and I can follow my passion. This can take me down this way and open up new doors. Yeah, universe was like, you're going about it all the way wrong. Like you're everything. Just pause. So I paused this summer. I'm like, you know what? Fine. I was heartbroken. I really was. Education has become more political. Everything's political now. And, and I'm like, I'm apolitical. I don't pick sides. I just see chaos. That's all I see. I don't see order in this whole thing. I don't. At 37, it's very different compared to my views when I was 27. I was still very apolitical, but even more so now, 37, I'm like, it's all a game. It is literally a game. I feel like society has been toyed with for so long and manipulated for so long. It's tired. The systems in place are tired and worn out, and it's just over. It's over. It's an old, tired game. If you can see it, great. If you can't, good luck. And so with that, though, with education, I'm come to the conclusion, because I'm all about education. I love education. I love learning. I love teaching. With that being said, going back to school, I do see, if there's an opportunity to go back to school, I'll take it. What will I'll be studying will be very intentional, very in alignment of my talents and my natural gifts. I'm done pursuing things that aren't in alignment of what my natural gifts are. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm done. That part of Naja is gone, Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't go back to school to get my master's in education. I'm just going about it a very different way. And I'll share that more in time. All right, and next we have travel and minimalism as an artist. Okay, guys, so this is, I'll be open to suggestions. Okay, so my background as an artist, I have a degree in classical music, okay, and performing arts. That's my background, among other things. I studied French language for many years, studied abroad, blah, 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 all that. Been teaching for a while, off and on. But travel has always been the a slow moving puzzle piece in my life. Okay, that just won't change. I'm a traveler. Needless to say, I'm a structured traveler, right? I'm not moving every month. There were seasons in my life where I would be going on tour and stuff, which was fun. It was a lot of fun. Very fulfilling, because at the end of a tour, you're like, you can breathe and you can relax, and you feel fulfilled, and that you get the best sleep ever after a tour. I will say that. But during it, it's amazing. It's great. However, now in my life, I'm moving intentionally. I'm not just moving just to move. And even if intentionally means I'm just going on a trip just to have fun. Like this past summer, I went on a trip to the Netherlands, and it was great. That to me, going to the Netherlands this summer was a catalyst for change in my life. It was confirmation and a catalyst for me. So with all that and my minimalism lifestyle, I don't like to own a lot of things. It makes moving that much easier. I know I'll have to, with the move abroad, I'll have to get rid of my car. Right? Which is going to be not so much of an adjustment abroad, because transportation is very easy abroad. The U.S., absolutely, you need a car here. If you're not living deep in Chicago, or deep in NYC or LA, or deep in Phoenix somewhere, no, Phoenix, you need a car. You need a vehicle. For real, for real. I wish I was, no. And I say that as somebody who didn't get a vehicle until she was I was about 30 years old. So 30, 31 years old, and I'm 37. So not very long. I will say yes. But, I know I need to release that, and going through my electronic music, my digital stuff for my music, some of the things I'm going to have to ship over. I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on new equipment if I don't have to. So I'm going through that, looking at things I need to sell, or things that I need to just give away. But the biggest thing, and you guys have noticed in my my other videos, I have a collection of artwork. And I have so many months in the US until I leave. So I'm not quite sure what to do with it, because nowadays online, you have people stealing artwork. Not even that. At first, that was a problem. Now you have AI just completely, just taking over. I really feel for the photographers out there. I do. And cinematographers and people who literally are, real artists. You take the time, you get the material, and you're drawing out your work. Okay? Like just last night, I did something simple like this, right? I'm just now getting back into the, just something. I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? Make it a postcard? Do I make a bookmark? Start off small, because I have really big ideas. But the thing is with traveling, it's like, and being minimalist, it's like, okay, how much can I take, and how much do I sell all of it before I go? Do I digitize it, make prints, sell those? It's a bit kind of a conundrum, because I want to keep my original pieces. You always want to do that. I feel like that's a way to protect yourself. So if you're fellow artists out there, help me out. I'm open to suggestions. Yes, there will be a coming website. I'm working on that now. Again, starting off small is the best way. I'll just start it off as a blog, and then in time we'll grow, because I really want to get settled into the country that I'm moving into. And I might just share that big transition. It's going to be a transition for me, because, it's a new language, new people, newness, like in the US, and I think it's an American thing. Mostly, not all places are like this, but it's like we have a lot of, when you're out and about in public, you have people that do, what do we call it? There's derogatory terms like shooting the shit. Like you're kind of just small talk. Okay. That's what we call it, small talk. And in other countries, not so much, right? It's like, why are you talking to me? Like what, I don't know you like that. Here, it's just a kind of a weird cultural thing where you're two people are waiting on a bus or they're waiting on food. You're standing in line and you talk about the weather. You talk about if there are kids around, you're like, oh, how old is your kid? Oh, like it's people engage in that way. Maybe less so because of the digital age, but it's just people talk here. And in other places, like if you try to stop and talk to somebody, either they're thinking you want something from them or you're making advances, right? Because we like to be very smiley here. In other places, like, oh my God, you're flirting, stop, So that I feel like will be, and I'm not a big talker. I mean, I read the room. And in my travels abroad in the past, when I remember I was on a train to Belgium years ago, and this guy who I guess I stuck out like a sore thumb. I thought I was blended in, right? But I guess he could tell I was, or he assumed that I was from somewhere else, and he was speaking to me in English. He spoke English, and it was like a 5-hour train ride, and we talked for a while, and so people talk. I mean, traveling is like, I'm not, I know that there's going to be major adjustments for sure. And, cause I'm not returning to a country where I'm not, I don't feel like I'm going back to France. No. So it'll be a place where it'll be brand new. That's scary. Oh, but I love adventure. So yeah, so those are some, I don't know if you picked up on it or not, but I like to share things when they fully manifest it, right? And I don't like to share like the process, per se, because it's kind of like, I don't want to jinx it, but I also feel like sharing the process of what I'm doing could also help feed, or even expedite the full manifestation of what I'm creating in my life. And because I know some people are like, oh, keep everything to yourself, don't tell them, move in silence. There are things I will never share on here that I'm about, and you'll never know, right? That are very important, that have to do with what I'm doing, right? And then there are other things where I'm just like, oh, well, let me pitch this idea. Let me see what people feel about this. This is going on over 40 minutes. I usually never make my videos this long, but last but not least, disclaimer and AI usage. Okay. I will not use AI in my work. Okay. My videos will not be heavily edited. Now in the past, I would edit my videos. I would add music to my videos. I would add all this extra stuff to make it more cinematic for the viewer. And I know that that's a really big thing, on YouTube, on social media platforms, to make everything picturesque, to make everything cinematic. But that's not my thing. It just is not. I like to be short and sweet. If I'm going to blend in my different medias, like my music and artwork or my writing and stuff like that, then I will in time. This is something that takes a lot of time to do it if you want to do it well, if you want to do it organically. Otherwise, people are using AI. I'm not going to use AI. That's not something I want to do. I believe in my own authentic, unique forms of expression, and to learn how to do things yourself, because that makes you that much more profitable and increases your skill set, right? Now, I think the only exception I could see myself would be web design with AI, right? But that's, we'll see how that goes. But yes, there will be a disclaimer in all my videos, beginning of next year for sure, because I love the engagement that I have on here, and I love that people are receiving what I'm sharing. I really appreciate it. But I want to be very clear here. When it comes to energy readings or just the 3 times a week, like for example, the topic that we're on, shadow work, all of those things, all my videos and messages are messages. They are my personal opinions about the human condition. And they come from lived experiences, my own personal perception of truths that I've discovered within myself. I am not here to convince you. I'm not here to analyze you. I'm not here to, make you believe what I believe. I'm not here for that. I'm just a guide. And I guide people with messages through creativity, spirituality, art, and music. And nothing, and eventually stories in time, but nothing more, nothing less than that. I want to make that abundantly clear. I am not your guru. I am not a psychiatrist, psychologist, licensed therapist, counselor. I don't hold a little sticker on any of my diplomas that says that. Okay. Now, do I read up on a lot of stuff? Do I study that? Yes. Yes, I do. Have I lived through that stuff? Yes, I have. And that's the ground that I stand on. Now, needless to say, if I go out in the world and I choose to become a therapist, yes, I'm going to share, hey, I'm a licensed therapist. Here are my credentials. But I'm telling you, and I'm disclaiming to you that I am not. So whether you take my energy readings or my other videos of discussion as entertainment or informative or opinion piece, do with what you will, but be mindful. Use your discernment. Use your discretion, please, for the love of God. Because I not want to go back and forth and banter when it comes to, I need you to prove to me why you think this, or I don't want to offend you, or this is what I think. How come you're thinking that way? This is going to be, it's a non-confrontational type of thing. Like, share your opinion on things, share your feelings on things, and that's it. And I'll engage if I have the time or energy to do so, but I don't take it any further than that because it's not that deep. Okay? It really isn't. And I want all of you to understand that and to really feel that it's all coming from a space of love. This is a safe place. Now, yes, have I blocked some people on here? Yeah. If it was outright insulting and rude and rage baity, yeah, I have that choice and power to get that out of the energy, because this is an energy exchange. Okay. And on these digital platforms, people siphon energy through these digitally. All right. Through comments, through making videos, consuming, creating. Okay. If you are consuming energy and watching videos, more videos, you're siphoning energy into your energy field. If you're creating, you're siphoning energy through, the viewers that watch your stuff. Okay, it goes, both ways. So I'm going to end the video here, and I'll be working on content and all that today. And may this message find you well and whole and happy and healthy. Enjoy the blizzard out there for those of you who live in the northern hemisphere, and for those of you who live in the southern hemisphere, enjoy your heat. I really, wish I was by water right now, just at the beach, but that's okay. I love it. I do. Thank you. This is very super long. Usually I don't like going over a half hour, but thank you so much, guys. See you soon.